Well, we're back. We're going to run through the stables quickly. Not much to talk about of note this week. Just a real crummy week. Real shitty week this week at the track. I will start with Kevin's barn. American League was a little bit flat last night, a little less than I wanted to see. I wish James had got away closer, but in watching the replay, he just couldn't. You know, this little guy, he's just on the cusp of being able to do in that class, and I didn't say a word to Kevin today. If Kevin enters him back in Mohawk, great, and if he doesn't, I don't blame him. American League's not in any danger of us dumping him or anything like that. This little horse wants to do his work, struggles on the halves a little bit. Not quite good enough for Mohawk, but he's trying his heart out. We'll find a spot for him in the next week. Art Seeker actually raced good for Art Seeker, but you're going to have a tough time trying to drag anything optimistic out of me in regards to Art Seeker. Optimistic part, he's back in to go Tuesday. So we'll see how he races there. Be My Delight's in to go this week. Maybe that's Monday. Maybe Be My Delight's back in Tuesday. I'm not sure. She's in Monday or Tuesday in London. Picked to win. Should probably win. Looked good training the other day. Certainly no concerns with Be My Delight. She's a sweetheart. Better Call Mike actually raced good his last start. Now, somebody said, why is Better Call Mike not racing? Well, because he wouldn't go up to the gate. If I'd have got away on the front or in the 2-hole in his last start, I'd win easy. And we couldn't get him up to the gate. He was just shying away from it. So we spent, not once, but 2 weeks schooling him. Schooled him. Phil Houdon went with him the other day, won a mile and 2-3 with him. Said he was very, very good. Put his nose right on the gate. That's what we needed to do. You have to do that sometimes so horses get a little timid going up to that gate. And Better Call Mike was good now. He's in to go. Should be good this week. Book the Bet, I would assume, is ready to go. I think Kevin was training her in the bike this week again. She should be in to qualify this week, I would hope Thursday. I did not talk to him, but she is ready to go. Buckingham trained. You're going to see her in the video. Said she was on the right line a little bit. Still a little underweight. We're working on that. We will get through to her. Cruising with Angus, obviously, is hurt. He's going to be out till June. Out till June. There'll be no harness going on Cruising with Angus until June. The injury itself looks great. I had the vet re-ultrasound it the other day. No need for the initial treatment of PRP. He believes just blister it. With blistering, it makes it paint it, it blows up, and that starts to heal the area also. When it comes down, you see a more uniform way of it filling in. As it fills in good, we'll probably shockwave therapy it, and then maybe swim them for a little while also. We have that ability with a trainer we use at First Line Training Center, Jared Bothwell. He has Sally DeVee for us. There's a pool there, so we may be able to send him up there also. Cruising in Style looked great on the track again today. Hasn't started training back, obviously. He's only been in for a couple of weeks, but looked great jogging. Hard 8 trained awesome this morning. You're going to see that in the video. Looked very, very good. Kevin was extremely happy with her. If you knew Susie, very mediocre mare, finished 6th last night. She's back in to go also. She's going to beat around those condition claimers for a while. No killer, but she's a horse. Candy Mac and Majesty Boy are both in to go in the Ohio sale. Candy Mac looked okay in his maiden. I actually had a couple of Ohio people message me and ask me about him. He's just a horse. I don't know what you want me to say. He's okay. I don't have a problem with him or Majesty Boy's attitude. Just their overall ability is a little frustrating. Majesty Boy's in tonight at Flamborough, and I think he'll probably give them all they want. I have Curious Winner in there. My #1 job will be to keep him trotting and try and make him look like a racehorse. Maybe I'll be kicking myself that I didn't put him in the sale also, but we will see as far as Curious Winner goes. But Candy Mac and Majesty Boy, no issue with them. They're just not going to be effective enough for us. Master Saver, trained awesome this morning, has been racing great. They canceled the races on him the other day. Looked good training today. He's in to go Wednesday at London. And I like driving this horse because he does try. Not a great horse, but tries his heart out. Road Tripper raced good the other night. Thought he should have been a winner coming out of the last turn, but he did trot in 58 and look good doing it. So he's going to fit in that class, no problem. And again, Timel Houdini and Timel Tulo both trained fantastic today. You're going to see the video of them, particularly Timel Houdini. I was really, really impressed with him. Timel Tulo did his work and looked exactly like he should. Timel Houdini really looked like I hoped he would coming back. So that's Kevin's barn. Not a lot going on. A few little highlights. But how did I miss Dancing on My Own? Why did I jump over her? I apologize for those of you that saying, hey, where's Dance on My Own? Right here. My eyes skipped over Dancing on My Own. She was sick last week, got a week off. I don't think he schooled her. Probably train her up and put her in to go at Flamborough or London next week. No concerns with her. I hope she gets around the half because she wants to do her work. Just couldn't pace with those fillies last week and then ended up scoping 6. So dancing on my own, my apologies, and somehow ended up at the end of the list. But certainly no concerns with her. So that's Kevin's burn. I'll be right back in a minute with Harry's, then Jason's, and then I'm going to get to you with all the yearlings, what I think of them, how they're doing, and what I see moving forward. Be right back with Harry's burn. Well, something odd happened last night. I had my yearlings left to do, and I went to upload the videos for Curtis. Harry's burn and Jason's burn were gone. My phone ate them, or what they did, or how I screwed it up, but they're gone, so I'm going to redo them. I didn't realize how much snow we got last night. I can tell you what, after Friday night, I would have taken anything positive at the races on Saturday. And Majesty Boy won. Small field, maiden. It wasn't pretty, but it was a W. Curious Winner got a flat line, and Pay the Line Blue Chip was third. Should have probably been a winner, but I let Colin Kelly go in the first turn. He let Tyler Moore go with a horrible animal, and Tyler just decided he was going to leave it on the front, and it walked. And I get out and finish third. You know, when things like that happen, you get pissed off, but I've been that idiot on the front end before, too, so it'd be a little hypocritical for me to, you know, obviously you're angry in the moment. I didn't say anything or anything. You'd be angry in the moment, but at the same time, whatever. So it was a good night. We had a first, a third, and a fifth at Flamborough. After Friday, that looked like a lottery winner. Well, that's good. Anyway, so we're going to get to, I'm just going to run through Harry's burn and Jason's burn quick and put this to bed. Kevin's burn is uploaded. So we'll start with Harry's burn. Oh, excuse me. Autumn Wings. Autumn Wings, somebody messaged me last night and said, oh my God, somebody's dumping chairs, and this always happens. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Autumn Wings. Yeah, I said 2 weeks ago I wasn't happy with the way she trained, because I wasn't. But we had a lot of changes to make to tighten her bolts up, so to speak, for racing. We've done that. We're going to train her, probably school her on Thursday, and see how she feels. So I have no concerns with Autumn Wings. She'll be schooling Thursday. If there's any change in my overall outlook on Autumn Wings, you'll be the first to know soon enough. Bay Jewel, still under my care, but she's in. She'll be likely heading down to Harry's burn in the next week or so. I trained her in 210 at Mohawk the other day. Made a couple little breaks, running in, touching herself. We made just a tiny little shoeing adjustment. We're going to go there and then again this week, but felt very strong. Very happy with Bay Jewel. Dewey Ann's going to be joining the breeding ranks here. Our first ever stable breeding broodmare will be Dewey Ann. Well, I guess first, Dewey Ann and Stolen Dance. We now have a couple of farms to send them to get them bred, and I'll be reaching out to both of those owners in the coming weeks to nail down exactly what it's going to cost us and what it's going to look like. But Dewey Ann heading to be a mama. Fan the Flames threw down a little fifth or fourth this week. James decided he would put him on the front. Not really sure if he got the memo. I think Fan the Flames texted him after the race to tell him he cannot race on the front end. He doesn't like it. But in fairness to James, he did get a wicked cheap half, and Fan the Flames should have been. Fan the Flames might need a little vet work too. He literally hasn't had any vet work in forever. So maybe we'll throw a little vet work at him this week, get him looked at, and see if Freddie's got a couple little aches and pains somewhere that are bugging him. Final Answer. Had a little bit of a, sorry about my nose, but plugged up today. Final Answer had a little bit of a setback. We've been looking, how do I put this? Okay. Final Answer has always been a little off. Always had a little hole in them, or a few little holes in them. Usually what happens in this case, you have a primary injury, whether it's obvious or not. And because of that primary injury, horses load weight. So for instance, if your left front leg is hurting you a little bit, you take a little bit of weight on your right front, you take a lot of weight on your right hind, and you deal with it. Much like you, if you have a blister on your foot or something, it doesn't mean you can't move or work or do anything, but you are going to take a little bit of pressure off that foot. So with horses, it can be various amounts of pressure, and that creates secondary problems. So final answer has always had what we believed were secondary problems, a number of them. Stifles would get sore, his back would get sore, typical stuff where the feet were sore, but his feet didn't appear to bother him. When their lower hocks, their back start to tighten up and get sore, they're usually loading from the front, and it's usually their feet or their knees. Now, final answer has bad knees, so it could have been that, but I was never really sold on that. We fluoroscoped him a number of times, but we didn't ultrasound him because there was no apparent injuries. There was no reason to ultrasound him. So this weird swelling ended up on his left front leg on the outside. Nothing, so he was sore to palpate it, to grab it. He was a little pinchy. He wasn't doing very much work. I mean, why would it just appear? Now it's gone. It's perfect now. But when it had blown up a little bit, we ultrasounded it. Sure enough, there was a little hole there. Now it's gone. You'd never know that there was anything wrong with that horse's leg right now. It's got a little hole in a soft tissue now. Everybody's like, they're waiting for the word suspensory. It is. It's a little hole in his left front suspensory, but not in the typical way where we talk about re-injury and issues and tearing and time, and it's not like that. It would be what I would categorize an aggravation. It's not a tear. It's not a tear. It's a hole. What the difference between those two are is that 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I don't think so. And when you're talking about soft tissue, there's always a wide range of one, variables, and two, injury definition. So is it significant? No. But it's significant enough that it always bothered him. He always come on the track a little bit off left front. Always. So did it... yes?
He needs me there by 10, so you're going to have to drive me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All right, no problem. What time Gail, what time do you need picked up?
I don't know. I'll find out.
Don't worry about it. It's no problem. Okay.
4, probably.
That's fine. No problem. So, Fan the Flames, not Fan the Flames, sorry. Final answer, there's a little hole there. It's quite painful, and he's always come on the track left front, but we've had no reason to ultrasound. Lots of reason to x-ray, fluoroscope. Could never really find anything. I think, and these holes and tears are usually secondary to something else. I don't think so. I think this is his primary injury. One of them, if he had a couple. His knees are obviously suspect, but he's a Yankee Glide. Almost every Yankee Glide has bad knees. Stonebridge Simba did. You can be sure that Forge and Fire probably will. It's just that's one of the things that Yankee Glides are. They have very rough-looking knees, but it's not the end of the world. And I don't think that may have played a role, but I think this hole's been here for a while. We've never ultrasounded this horse. I've never had a reason to. So the more I think about it, when I think about him loading weight behind, getting stiff over his back, his knees may have played a role, but I think the primary issue has always been, and it could have been, this suspensory, and we never knew it was there. So, good job by Harry and the groom to catch that. Obviously, we ran him over, got him ultrasounded. We've formulated a plan. We're going to put PRP in there. So the last thing you want is scar tissue getting in there. You don't want that. So you put enzymes, PRP is the platelets from the blood. You put it in there, and it helps heal it with its own, his own body will heal it properly. Very low scar tissue. Hit it with a shock wave, and that will speed up the healing. Again, keep the scar tissue out. And then we'll probably jog him a little bit, maybe even put him in the pool for a month. But he'll miss, he won't train for 2 months. It's going to be a little late for the party, but we want to have the best form of this horse we can. So I think this gives us an opportunity to really work on his knees and clear up this issue that I would suspect may be the primary issue. And by doing that, you're going to clear up all the issues. And it was a good catch by Harry and the groom. So, final answer, although it's not great news, it's certainly not bad news, and especially in the long term of the horse, it's actually very, very good news. So that's final answer. Just a tad for Greg. Trained terrible this week. Horrible. Had him over and tried to train him in he went a mile in 2:10. Tried to train him in 2:5. He made a break. I made a break with Bay Jewel. And Screaming Hawk made a break too. It wasn't a very eventful training session. It was quite the Thursday and Friday, I can tell you that. Just a tad. Although if you watch the yearling videos, just a tad, Harry trains him a slow mile. He goes by us. He looked not bad. It's a work in progress, I guess. You know, he's always got one foot out the door and one foot in, and Greg knows that, and I'm the vast majority owner of this horse, so I'm sitting there just grinding my teeth. But I'll, you know, I think he'll get there. Hopefully, we haven't made many changes to him so far as shoeing goes. So I think there's a number of things we can do, and a number of things we will do, and one of them, I believe, will get us to the races. Let's say. So that's just a tad. Lima's son had a little bruise on his left front leg. Now, a lot of our clients were gingerly asking me, Anthony, is there a problem? Anthony, is there a problem? Yes and no. There's a problem in the fact that he has a bruise sitting right over top of his old injury that hurt him in 2017. That's not a big deal. We can fix that. The problem is, if we push forward just saying, he'll be fine, again, when we talked about loading weight, he has to load some weight from that left front. Lima's son he's full up. There's no loading anywhere that he can take. Anything on that right hind leg will inevitably lead to re-injury and his career being over. So rather than just give him some anti-inflammatories and, you know, push forward gingerly and quietly, no, we're going to do it right. We're going to cool it out, make sure that lag's 100% when he qualifies. It looks great right now. Not a lot of swelling at all. Looks fantastic. We're gonna we put a blister on it, and the blister's gonna come down, cool it out, shock it, qualify him. So, and when you're looking, I'm looking outside right now. I went to sleep last night. It was cold. It was very cold. I woke up to a foot of snow. I don't know where the hell it came from. I didn't know they were calling for it, but it definitely appeared. So this type of weather, with soft tissue, I'm not really worried about him missing a week or two. And I know that a lot of people are like, well, I own him, I'm worried about it. Well, you're going to be really worried about it if I try and go with him and he breaks down. So it needs to be, there's going to be no mistakes made here. This horse injures himself again, he's done. So we're very aware of that, very cognitive of that every time we go to train him. And yeah, sure, we're treating him. One of my partners said the other day, you know, he seems like a glass vase. He is, kind of. This colt has the 4-year-old now. This 4-year-old has the potential to make pretty decent money when we get him back at 100%. And he's there right now. But we need to keep him there. So we can't afford him to load weight anywhere. Therefore, we got to make sure that leg's 100% when he goes to the track. I would suspect a training mile this week. And potentially qualifying the week after. So that's Lima's son. Lincoln James is racing tonight. He's not issue-free either. Lincoln James in PEI in the final, he hit himself right front and put a little bruise there, a little hematoma there. Still bothers him. Still hurts him when you grab a hold of it. And if you go back and watch me coming back to the winner's circle with him 2 weeks ago, he was a little ginger on that right front. We gave him a week off. He was fine after, and it's not bad now. But I believe there's a little bit of softness there, maybe even on the bottom of that sesamoid. He's an old horse. That's not that shocking. But what we can do is put a couple little cryo dots there. Those cryo dots will help kill the nerves there and tighten up the area. So I think after this start, win, lose, or draw, we'll put a couple little dots on that bottom of that sesamoid. I think that will help help Lincoln James. He doesn't need much help. The horse is fine. But again, I think by the looks of what he can do on the B tracks, how effective he can be, and at Mohawk too. He won in 150 for us last year at Mohawk. I think looking at what he can do and the money he can make, it's probably wise to take care of him. So again, this frigid cold weather, I was on the fence of racing him Sunday night tonight, but we scratched him last week because of weather, and 2 starts before that he had a little blood in his throat. So we're trying to give him some time and get that cleaned up also. So as I said, there's lots of racing all throughout the spring, all throughout the year. When Lincoln James misses a little time, it's not the end of the world. Linnea, man, oh man, when is this list going to get happy? Linnea raced like a hog the other night. Very disappointed with her mile. I said to Harry after, I said, you know, we go nice and easy with this filly. We train her nice and soft, and then she goes out and races like that, and she comes on the track with her ears up, playing around like she's going to the playground. Next time she goes on the track, she's going to be on her toes. She's going to train hard on Tuesday, very hard on Tuesday, and she's going to be on her toes next Friday night. And probably one of the biggest talent wasters I've seen in, well, truthfully speaking, as I sit here in this car, I can't think of one horse I've ever had that has wasted more talent. I've had a lot of horses that don't try. You know they can go, and you've been a part of them with me, quite a few of them over the last 3 years. But a horse that seemingly just doesn't care, she's not sour, doesn't pin her ears and pull up, just doesn't care. I don't think I've ever seen a horse like Linnea that does that. So, she's going to be in the right frame of mind next Friday. What she does with herself next Friday will be up to her, and whether she stays or goes, that also will be up to her. But she should be able to handle those 15 claimer non-winners classes pretty easy, and I suspect she will in the coming weeks. Maintenance Man trained great yesterday, a little rolly, but I'd asked Harry, he said, well, Anthony, we got his hobbles out way long. You know, I'm not, and I'm not concerned with that. If you go watch the video, you'll see when he puts him in gear and he settles in and he's in attack mode, he's fine. But when he's following Sunshine's Finest or sitting outside of him or sitting inside of him, just kind of flops around, and that's just because his hobbles are long. It's not a big deal. But he was very strong, very good. Maxwell Plum hit his knee qualifying and put a pretty good gash on it. It's going to take 2 weeks to heal it up, but he looked good jogging this week. We have a plan of attack for that also that we're going to institute next week when we qualify him. I suspect he'll be fine, but we'll see. Quartz Blue Chip is in the sale. We got to start moving some of these horses that aren't going to be effective. You know they're not. I know they're not. There's 4 in the Ohio sale. There's probably at least as many that could leave also. They're just not going to do us any good. And I can complain because I own a quarter of Quartz Blue Chip. Blue Chip Farms owns a quarter of Quartz Blue Chip. Probably one of the best bred horses and best looking horses on the property at Tamiko. Doesn't want to be a racehorse. And somebody sent me a message last night, said, well, you're breeding Dewey Ann, breeding Stolen Dance. Why aren't we breeding Quartz Blue Chip? Quartz Blue Chip doesn't want to be a racehorse. Why would I want to breed a horse that doesn't want to be a horse? Dewey Ann's tried every step of the way. Every single step she's trotted on the track, she's tried her entire life. She's well bred. Those are 2 things I want to see in a yearling. Stolen Dance. Hit her knee and blew it up and injured herself at 2. I trained her in 2-3. I know she wants to be a good horse. There's a well-bred 3-year-old now, 3-year-old Muscle Hill filly. I want to breed her. Do I want to breed a Sweet Lou filly that despises putting equipment on and going to the track to do any amount of work at all? No. Why would I want to do that? So, I'm not a breeder, and maybe there's a breeder that wants Quartz Blue Chip. I have no idea. But she's going to go to Ohio. You know, we really just have to take a look. And in real time, you know, there's people going back and saying, oh, what about Real Willie? Oh, what about Real Willie? You know, he won. He won for Richard Moreau. Geez, there's a shock. Isn't that surprising? Richard Moreau only bats at about 380 at Mohawk. So Real Willie couldn't do the non-winners of 3 in the fall when we were racing there. It was too tough. It's a watered-down version of it right now. He won a couple of them, and he won a claimer. Where he'll end up back in, it will be a claimer. But, and nothing against the horse. I don't mean to attack Real Willie. I thought Real Willie had a lot of talent when we had him when he was young. He went in 153 in Scioto pretty easy this year. Last year for us, for Jason. So, I mean, I get no issues with Real Willie or Richard Moreau, but I'm not going to start looking back and saying, oh, this horse raced good and this horse raced good. For the most part, I think our record stands up. Our trainers do a great job. When they leave this barn, the horses are virtually the same. I will concede that Real Willie is racing well and looking good. Okay. There's lots of horses that have left here that haven't, and I'm not going to get into this back and forth about it. And I don't really care. We do the best job we can, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And that's that. So, as far as Quartz Blue Chip goes, I think she's punched her own ticket. I've turned her out a couple of times, maybe 3 times. We've trained her down. She just she always had it, but didn't want it. And that's really what it comes down to, is whether they want it or not. Another horse, ready for the beach. He lost a shoe the other night, was all out of gear. You guys saw him in London. He looked like a fish out of water. But got some money. Good on him that he did that. We're probably going to put a couple lines on him at Mohawk now. and race him back at Mohawk. That track in London is just a skating rink also. So, you know, you look at a horse like, what's the big trot mare's name? Too Far Gone. 2-6 she went the other night, and she did her work. She was working. She's a big filly on an icy track, and you can see she just couldn't function, you know, and that track will do that to you. It's literally a skating rink. And, you know, Ready for the Beach would have got around it fine before she was on, but with 3 shoes, not so much. So he's going to go back to Mohawk. I don't want to race him there unless we have to. Screaming Hawk, as I said, made a break training the other day. Still won a mile in 2.6. I made a shoeing adjustment, talked to Harry after, talked to the blacksmith. We made a shoeing adjustment that I think will probably help. I'm going to skip him over to Mohawk again this week and school him. I suspect he'll be fine. He looks great, this horse. Put on some weight. Really tall now. He's going to be a big, big boy when he grows up. Sunshine's Finest trained. You got a video there of him training. Looked fantastic. You can just see him the whole way. His ears just pricking. He just wants to play, wants to attack, and just come back exactly how we wanted him to. So good for him, and he looks great. Sunshine's Finest, first training trip of the year. You can see, second training trip of the year. You can see it on this email. Sunshine Inn. Here's a filly that can back great. All right, I know her race the other night, she was bad, and I was worried because she was sick. She's scope sick, and I knew that all the clients are going to say, "Oh my God, not like last year." I don't think so. She hasn't so much as coughed since she come back into the barn. And the next shed row to Harry's is Kevin's, dancing on my own scoped the week before. 3 out of 5, at least for mucus, maybe 3.5 out of 5, which is significant. A lot of redness and swelling and pimples down low. That's why is my phone doing this? Oh, I don't know. That's significant. That's a significant scope. So they're sick. Sunshine, I was mad at myself the other night for Sunshine Inn. I shouldn't have had her on the front end. She was a little bit grabby at the gate. I looked left. It didn't look like the 1, 2, or 3 were going to leave. I knew the 4, 6, 8, and 10 were the horses to beat. So I said, in my mind, I'm going to loop over in front of the inside 3 and then let one of the outside 3 go, that I know one of them will be coming out of there. I look at the TV leaving, so as a driver, that big screen, you're going to look at that to see, you know, you can look left and right, but you want to see how the field's forming. Where is the 6, 8, and 10 getting away? And Jody's leaving with me with the 2. I had to push Sunshine into the front, 28 flat. I had the brakes on, and it took quite a while for Phil to come clear off the lead. 57 and 2, maybe a little much. Felt like she was very, very much in hand. Around the last turn, it looked like I was going to inhale Phil. She just was climbing right up on top of him. I moved her over. She got to a saddle pad, and she walked. She's running air. And immediately after the race, I was angry at myself. I was hoping she did scope sick, obviously, but I was angry at myself, and I think I drove her a little hard, but it ended up being that ultimately she probably would have inhaled Phil if she had been as good as she was in the qualifier. A little sick. We're going to treat her for a week and get her over that. And I had the vet come in and make sure, we drew her blood to make sure there was nothing out of the ordinary. Her levels are fine. We're going to give her some X-Stem, which is what we've put the babies on that got sick. That should help them get over what is bothering them. And then we'll keep an eye on her, real close eye on her with that X-Stem, and keep working hard on her. So that is our girl, Sunshine Inn, but she came back very good. For every Sunshine Inn, you're going to have a few Linneas and Just a Tads and whatever, but our job is to find the Sunshine Inns. And I think that I'm comfortable in saying I think this filly's got a shot to be a good filly this year, and I think she's going to show it. So the Butler did it. The Butler did it. Looked a little bit off right front, but had splint bother him. His splints are still hurting him, but went out and trained. The most important thing is he didn't really train. He jogged the other day because Harry wanted company for War We Ultra. But the Butler did it. Has been in 220, and will continue to train down. The most important thing is when I went down, he's jumping around, playing his stall, eating his feed. He's comfortable, even with those splints bothering him. And this is the transition I was telling you about with the Butler did it. Last year he went from a really sulky, cranky, whiny horse to a worker. We want workers, and I'm very, very happy with what I've seen from the Butler did it. I would suspect we'll probably be schooling him in the next couple of weeks. Those splints, the problem is So the splints, imagine a splint bone, right? A long splint bone. It's kind of useless, really. It sits on the side of the horse's leg, and sometimes he'll get it can form from a crack or an irritation. Maybe they hit it, but calcium can form on there. A little bit of calcium, and if it's on the front, it's not a big deal. You can cryo it, fine, deaden those nerves. It's not a big deal. But if it's towards the back, that's where all the ligaments and tendons are, and it can rub and irritate them. So until you get that completely under control, it can irritate the horse quite a bit. And I think that's what you see in that that gait of the butler did, is that irritation. He does have something in there. So we just cryo it, try and hit the right spot where it deadens it, and then keep it cleaned out so it doesn't end up rubbing up against those ligaments and tendons. Not a big deal. Hundreds, if not thousands, of horses have this affliction. It's not the end of the world. And I think just cryoing it, and the butler did it, will be ready to go. Too Far Gone, as I said earlier, raced great. Raced very, very good, the filly, the other night. You know, didn't do anything special, but for a big filly on an icy track, stayed flat, got paid, got a little money, got a flat line. I think we're going to try to avoid London with her. I'd like to get her back to Mohawk. Now, the maiden only went in 2 minutes. She qualified in 2:3. Can she trot in 2 minutes in Mohawk? I think so, and I think she will. Warwe Ultra and White Tiger. I wanted to jog White Tiger for you guys, and I didn't get a chance to. My apologies. We'll get that next week. Hi, honey. Hi, just move that stuff out of the way, sweet. I got to drive Gail up to see her other son, Curtis. She's going to do a little babysitting for Curtis. So we're going to head up there right now. No. So, Warwe Ultra went good. Harry was very happy with her. Ken, that owns a big chunk of Warwe Ultra, was happy with her. She's grown up. She's very tall now. She's starting to fill into herself and look great. So good for her. Happy with Warwe Ultra. White Tiger's just jogging. He looks great. I'll try and get a video of him jogging for you next week. Obviously, I'm very happy to have this colt back. He is big now. Filled out real good. Didn't get much taller, but filled out. He's going to be a big, strong boy. So, that's Harry's barn. I'll be back in a minute with Jason's barn and the babies on a very snowy Sunday. Picked up a couple of hitchhikers here, so I'm doing, getting through the videos. I'm gonna go to the gym. That's right, I'm going to the gym.
Gym.
Yes. Before I go to the gym, they got a little playroom there. I dump the little trolls off and play, and then I go up and pretend to work out. So I get through 2 of the stables. I'm getting through the last stable now, Jason's barn. A lot going on in Harry's barn and Kevin's barn this week. As I said, we finally had a decent night last night at the races. Majesty Boy won. Wasn't pretty. Colin Smallfield, he went in 2-4 off a half and 4. Oliver, come a last half in a minute and looked good doing it. I was happy with him. Curious Winner, I just wanted to get him around. I got a flat line on him. He finished 5th. Now, people might say, well, hold on, you finished last. Okay, but I finished 5th. And he didn't make a break, and put a little step in coming out of the last turn. It really cost us 3rd. Oliver, sit in your seat right now. You're not going in the playroom. Hey, I'm not going to ask you again. Right now. So that was good. I was happy with that. Payline Blue Chip finished 3rd, and whatever. She raced good. She should have won. So we'll go down Jason's barn right now. We'll start with our Vika. I saw our Vika train on Friday. She looked very, very good. I would suspect she'll probably be ready to school next week, I would think. I didn't talk to Jason. I saw her go first trip. I didn't see her go last trip, so I don't know how much she went. Or what she's going to do. Bah. But she looked really good going first trip. Boston Glide aggravated his right hind leg up high. We're already treating it. He should be ready to go. I think we want to do it right. We'd have to, I would think, blister it, cool it out, shock it, swim him for 3 weeks, and then reevaluate. He'll probably be ready to go in another 5 weeks, 6 weeks, which is fine because I know exactly what happened. The corks aggravated him, his hind leg, so those corks will be off by the time we actually get him training again. So that'll be fine. He'll make a full recovery, I would suspect. Casanova's Jewel, you have a video on in this email about Casanova's Jewel training. He looked very, very good. Hooked on to Yes yesterday. They finished up well together. My only complaint, and I'll be talking to Jason and Todd about this, when they finish up their mile, they go into that turn. I absolutely hate when people let them coast through that turn. I want them trotting or pacing through that turn into the backstretch. Jason knows. You can see how he went with both horses he went with. And Todd just kind of let them float through the turn. Todd, if you're watching this, that's a D minus. A D minus. So, Casanova's Jewel looked good though. Good as always. Might just snap him in the bike one of these days. I don't want him ready for about 5-6 weeks, probably 4 weeks. I don't know. But I'll snap him in the bike and see how he feels. He's never had the hobbles back on yet. I hope he goes without them. Just looks... I love this horse to be able to trot without hobbles on. Canale Hanover, we moved Canale Hanover over to Richard Moreau's barn. I think he's gone as far as he was going to go in Jason's barn. So the last stone left unturned is he going to perform better in a barn like Richard Moreau's? I don't know. Richard's obviously done well with Real Willie when he claimed him off us. As I said to one of our clients, I think that's a timing issue. Ava, that's a timing... Ava?
What?
Stop. That's a timing issue as far as Real Willie goes. He could do in that condition claimer, and I think he fit well in there. As the non-winners of 3 got a little watery throughout the winter, he actually fit up in there. So good for them. You know, I think he was a safe claim at 15. Went for 18.75. Actually, they claimed him before Christmas, so we got a little extra, I think. No, we did for sure. So we got a little bit of extra on the allowance. What's wrong, honey? No, because you're going to get everything all wet getting up here, okay? But we're going to be going soon. We're going to be going in soon. So, Canale Hanover, I simply moved him over to Richards. This will be his final destination. Just, Oliver. Obviously one of those cases where, you know, he was a real good 2-year-old. Ava. He was a real good 2-year-old. Just come back so-so at 3. And not so-so. He come back terrible at 3. Really depressing, that story on him. You know, when you look at the way Lawmaker came back. You look at Oliver, you say one more word, I'm just going to put it in drive and go right back home. Okay? Is that what you want? Okay, so sit in your chair right now. In your chair, I said right now. Sit and behave. Oh my goodness. Sunday. Wow. Yeah, the way that Lawmaker and Cruising in Style came back, and then to see Canale Hanover come back as poor as he did was pretty depressing. So he's over at Richards right now. We'll probably race him 2 or 3 times there. If he races good, fine, he stays there. If he races bad, then we'll have to make other decisions. I mean, he's going to be worth money to somebody. He's sound. He's Pennsylvania bred, so lots of racing for those middle-class trotters in Pennsylvania. A lot of worth there still, obviously a lot less than we thought we'd have, but there is an exit strategy for Canale Hanover. Curious Winner, didn't light the world on fire last night, stayed trotting, stayed quiet, finished 5th. Now, it was 5-horse field, so we were always going to finish 5th, but it wasn't great, but at the same time, I saw improvement. 1 in his attitude, 2 in his gait. I think the speed will come. He's built for speed. He's already trotted in 2-1, his second lifetime start behind the gate in the qualifier. I don't think there's going to be an issue with speed. The confidence. Just got to grow confidence. So it wasn't great last night. It wasn't a wonderful race to witness or watch, but sitting behind him, I saw some definite improvements. And sure, we could just put him in a sale or sell him and dump him, but I think I'd like to explore it a little bit more and see how he's going to come over the next few weeks. I talked about Cherry in Harry's barn, honey. She raced good. Do you know what this is here? This thing?
No.
That's a camera, and I'm talking, and now you're trying to talk. It doesn't work that way. So you're gonna have to wait till I'm done, okay? Okay, sit in the back. Curious Winner, as I said, I'd like to explore that a little bit more and see if we can see some growth in that horse. I didn't see any indications of a sour, ignorant horse. Saw frustration. But a lot less than I've seen in the past. So I think we're going to see some growth and some improvement in Curious Winner. Dance Hall Babes back jogging, not training yet. Looks a lot like she did last fall, but obviously a little more definition to her body. She's got a lot bigger. Very happy and excited to see how she's going to train back. Dalcrest Star Angel comes back tomorrow morning. She's going to start back doing her work. Happy Holidays finished 5th the other day, but that was a tough mile. 2 minutes, probably one of the fastest miles of the entire night, and it was cold in London. She just simply can't do any more than she did. And she's not the Happy Holidays of 2017 where she won in 154 and 4 and won all these races. She's not the same horse. That's just the long and the short of it. But she's still a decent mare, and I think you know, at some point we're going to have to discuss claimers with her, I think. But at the same time, I was happy with the way she raced the other night. Ivanka trained well. There's a video on your email of Ivanka training with her training partner, Not an Angel. She looked really, really good. Both of them did. Oh, so Pine made a few breaks, but I think Jason expected a lot. West 52nd come out swinging. That was his 2nd or 3rd training mile of the year, and he looked awesome. And So Pine, that was his 1st training trip of the year. No hobbles on. And I think Jason lost him a couple of times in the deep footing. Probably going to need the hobbles on to train. It's not the end of the world. 1st training trip of the year. So Pine looks incredible, though, this year. Much bigger, much stronger. Just got to put the hobbles on if you're going to train him on that little half-mile track. Mystical Mission. We did right by this colt, this horse. We scratched him the night it was really, really cold. I wasn't racing a horse in that. And then we entered him the next week, and he's also eligible. So obviously Darryl was a little PO'd, but we did right by the horse. We did the right thing, and he knows that, and I know that, and he'll have to skip a week, train at Mohawk this week, and then race at Mohawk next week. Not an Angel trained well with Ivanka. That video is on your email. 1 second. That video is on your email. You can get a look at that. And then we have Pay the Line Blue Chip. Pay the Line Blue Chip was 3rd last night. Race good. I made front going around the 1st turn. Colin Kelly's there. They're stacked up. And there's various horses that have different levels of talent. Ava, I know what you're doing. Have different levels of talent. And Pay the Line Blue Chip, I cut Colin. Ava, you guys do that one more time. Act up one more time. And that little gym room right there, I'm just going to leave. And that'll be it for the day. Okay?
I'm just counting.
Okay, so stop, both of you, please. So I let Colin Kelly go, and he let Tyler Moore go. Tyler Moore's horse is probably the worst horse in the race. I went to remove at 3 to 5, and he just kept sailing. Now, in fairness, Pay the Line Blue Chip didn't spring out of the hole, but he certainly didn't tap the brakes at all. I had to scurry back into the hole, and then he walked. And I had to jam my way out and ended up 3rd. And she raced well. Could have raced better, but she raced okay. And as I said in the other video, it's tough for me to be mad. I've been that guy in the front end many, many times. So although I'm a little angry after the race and a little mad, especially since I own the vast majority of that filly, I've been that guy. So it would be a little hypocritical to flip out about that. See You in Tuscany looked good. See You was still up to his old carrying out stuff. We're going to end up hanging him up a little better. That was his 1st training trip of the year, and he looked great. Very, very happy with how he looked training with Twinsburg. Both of them look very good. I'll probably go with See You in Tuscany in a couple of weeks. Start him up, see how he feels. But he looked very good. Still got that big kind of that kind of odd action up front that he has. But he looked good doing it. Stolen Dance is going to join Dewey Ann in the broodmare shed. I think again, I haven't really talked to our clients closely, but I haven't had any opposition about Sebastian K. I can't say enough about the ones that we have. So Stolen Dance probably going to be bred to Sebastian K, I guess. Stonebridge Simba made up. You guys, you didn't see it. Curtis made half a video and then changed to us. We were out there at the same time with 2- and 3-year-olds. He trained Simba, and he made a break coming to the half at the half-mile mark, and then kind of slowed him up a little bit. And Curtis just left him with the video. So you didn't get to see the video of Simba, but it was his 1st training trip back. Todd was going with him. He was a little hot, a little warm, and he ended up making a break. I'll be down. I'll go with him this week. I want to take a good look at Simba, although he's still quite a ways from the races. Stonebridge Loyal. There's one of the shining points this week, depending how you look at it. I had somebody say, well, she didn't beat anybody. She didn't go by anybody. She was flying at the wire. She raced the last quarter in 28 seconds, a mile in 57, and looked very, very good doing it. And clearly a vast improvement from the week before. We made some shoeing changes on her up front, let her hobbles out. We're going to continue to let her hobbles out. That's 2 full inches they've gone out in the last 3 weeks. They're going to go out again this week, and we'll race her back at Mohawk. I'd like to continue this Mohawk experience and experiment with, however you look at it, with Stonebridge Loyal and see how she works out in the future. Twinsburg, you have a video on your email of her training with CU in Tuscany. Twinsburg probably grew up more than any of the other horses. She is huge now. Very, very big. Biggest I've seen any of the horses sprout up was by far Twinsburg, and I'm really excited to see what she's going to do this year in Ohio. West 52nd, the best looking horse of the entire training day by far was West 52nd. This horse looked like a machine out there. Certainly didn't look like a horse that needs hobbles, and that's encouraging also. A West 52nd with no hobbles that can race in Ohio all summer might be a very scary individual. This horse looked awesome training. By far the best looking. Not by far. Yes, the next horse looked very good. Jason said to me, no, yes, looked better. I said, no, you need to go and look at the videos. West 52nd looked incredible. So we have West 52nd and Yes. Both look great. Both trained well. But for my 2 cents, West 52nd looked awesome. Yes, looked very good too. Another horse that I think won't need the hobbles. So 2 very impressive colts from 2018 that trained very impressively their first start back in 2019. So that's Jason's barn. That's all the barns. I'm going to be back in a few minutes, and I'm going to run through the entire yearling roster for TheStable.ca. Be right back in a minute.